Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on Princess Rail. My name is Mary Jackwell, and I'm the Director of Alaska Planning and Marketing here at Princess Cruises. Just in case you didn't know, this past year, 2023, or I should say this year, 2023, it was the Alaska Railroad System's centennial, so the 100-year birthday. And so we're super excited to have our train expert for Princess Cruises with us live today from Anchorage. You guys are in for a real treat. So can we go ahead and flip to the next slide? Awesome. A couple of quick reminders here, a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording the session and it is available on OneSource after the webinar. We obviously want to make this a dynamic conversation. I'm seeing a lot of Merry Christmases and hellos and locations where people are dialing in from. So please feel free to drop your chats and your comments in along the way. And if you could flip to the next slide. Awesome. So today is our last webinar of the series. And I'm so excited and honored to introduce Jan, who is our General Manager of Princess Rail. Jan, I think you're calling in from Anchorage today. What's the temperature like there?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Today it is 19 degrees here in Anchorage, and it is lightly snowing. We've sure had a snowy fall here in Anchorage. As we go into winter, we've seen a ton of snowfall. But thank you so much for letting me join this webinar series. It has been fascinating to watch the other general managers from the beautiful Princess Wilderness Lodges do their presentations. And I've even learned a few things. And I've been working for Princess here in Alaska for 16 years. My first 10 years, I was a seasonal employee. So I just worked in the summer seasons, May through September, while our train was running. I did a variety of jobs. There's a picture of me as a rail guide there. I've also been a food server. I've subbed in as a line cook. I was one of our onboard managers for 6 seasons. I've done a couple supervisor roles. And then in 2018, I joined the year-round full-time team as assistant manager for food and beverage. And I so love joining the year-round team. It's been a really fun and wonderful adventure. After a couple seasons as the assistant manager, food and beverage, I did 1 season as the food and beverage manager. And then my former boss, Kathleen Ashton, got a chance to be promoted into director of all of the interior, all the things that roll. So when Kathleen was promoted, I was able to take on her giant role as general manager of the rail division. And it has been really awesome. Just completed my first season as general manager, and I'm really looking forward to the 2024 season and beyond. I have so loved working for Princess. My husband and I do a number of cruises. I actually met my husband while working for Princess. I got off the train one day in Denali, and he was one of the Whitewater River guides that takes our guests whitewater rafting. And I went rafting that day with some of our guests from the train and thought that raft guide was cute. And now we've been married for 9 years and get to have all kinds of wonderful adventures all over our beautiful earth. So again, thank you so much for letting me join on today. I'm going to talk a little bit about how awesome and wonderful our train service is. I know that there's a few questions about the different routes that we have, and so I'm going to do my best to explain that. I'm going to start off by talking about our double-decker, beautiful rail cars that we own. We have 20 of these double-decker rail cars, and they do the routes from either Whittier to Denali or Anchorage to Talkeetna to Denali. So I have a map a little bit later, but I just want to talk about those amazing rail cars because they are pretty spectacular. We are lucky enough to have a private pull contract with the Alaska Railroad. So when our train is out there on the tracks, it's just our consist. It's just our series of rail cars that go together. Each train car does hold 88 guests, and they are quite massive. They're all double deckers. Upstairs is the beautiful glass top dome. Downstairs is the kitchen, the dining room, the restrooms, and the open air vestibules. I love this shot of our double-decker train leaving the ship in Whittier, headed direct to Denali on the decks. We'll talk about the Denali Express train here in a moment too. Like I mentioned, there are 20 of these rail cars. One of the things I love so much is that 10 of them are named after rivers and 10 of them are named after mountains. And we are really proud of our train cars. I'm going to show you some pictures from the past coming up here in the slideshow. But here are some of the things I really, really love about our train service for our guests that come to Alaska.
And Jan, real quick, how did the cars get their names?
Oh, thanks for asking. Actually, it was a pretty fun time up here when we decided to rename all the train cars. They used to have like letters and numbers named, and we decided to name the 10 of the rail cars after rivers and 10 of the cars after mountains. And so it was kind of a fun time. I remember I was a seasonal back then, but I do remember when they were going through all the names of the different train cars and how they settled on them is pretty fun.
How awesome.
Yeah. I love this picture so much. I don't know if you can see out here, but this is a great view of Denali, of the Great One. There's the tallest mountain in North America peeking out, and a number of our guests enjoying the open air vestibule. A great insider tip to tell your guests is to go outside and experience that area in between the train cars. Nobody wants to stay sat in their assigned seat for the entire train journey. We really ask that everybody get up and move around and keep those legs fresh. And going outside and enjoying the view from in between the train cars is pretty fun. Our train does average about 30 miles an hour, but there are a lot of times that we go much slower. Like this section along the Susitna River with the incredible views of Denali, Foraker, and Mount Hunter. At this point, we're probably going like 6 or 7 miles per hour. So it's a pretty cool way to experience the views. This photograph was taken off the very back vestibule of the train. It's just such a romantic and wonderful way to travel through Alaska, especially with our big, beautiful glass top domes and the chance to stand outside in between the train cars. It is, like I said, really fun way to see Alaska. The railroad does just have this one set of tracks. And there are lots of train traffic traveling on these tracks. So there will be times during the journey when there's actually 2 sets of tracks side by side, and our trains get a chance to do a meet. So it's all coordinated and planned out by the Alaska Railroad. And the trains will actually come up to the meet. The conductors will manually flip the track, and our train will go over onto the siding to cross paths with one another. On a busy Saturday, when we have our beautiful ships sitting in port down in Whittier, we're actually running 5 of our own trains all at once. We have a northbound Denali Express train, a southbound Denali Express train. Then we have the McKinley Express train, which we will talk about. And then we have our daily rail service as well. So we have our regular Healy Express. So we have our regular train that starts in Anchorage, goes through Talkeetna up to Denali, and then southbound as well. So lots of train traffic out on these tracks. In addition to the 5 trains that Princess is managing and running on the trains, the Alaska Railroad also has 2 passenger trains, one north, one south. They have freight service, and then they have a really unique flag stop train that just runs between Talkeetna and Hurricane Gulch. But all of our guests will see that other train as well during one of our many sightings throughout the day.
That's a great point, Jan. The Alaska Railroad is really a way of life up here. That's a great point to make. I love that. And your last picture just had so many beautiful colors that you can see as you cross the landscape of Alaska through the rail.
Yeah, the seasons are so beautiful up here. Everyone always asks me, like, what's my favorite time of year? Mm-hmm. And really, there are so many highlights to each of the different seasons. Our fall starts a little bit earlier than the rest of the United States does. And so we get to really experience some of those beautiful fall colors at the end of August and then into September.
Gorgeous.
Awesome. Well, Another frequently asked question that we receive here at the rail division is, are we ADA accessible? Can we accommodate guests with scooters and mobility devices? And yes, we can. All 20 of our rail cars can be serviced by this external lift. So this picture on the left of my screen is one of our external lifts. And so that can get 100% of our guests onto the main level of our rail cars. Inside our train cars, 8 of our 20 have an internal elevator. So it's really important during the time of booking that you mention any limited mobility, any confined wheelchair access. It's really important during the time of booking to mention those things. And if it is forgotten, it is definitely possible to call the Princess call center and, let us know that you'll require one of these internal elevators during the journey. If there's any limited mobility in your party, we will assign the entire family and any of the guests traveling together to the same rail car that is accessible by one of our internal elevators. So like I mentioned, downstairs on the first floor is the kitchen and the dining room, that open air vestibule, and the restrooms. Each train car has a couple of restrooms, usually 3 restrooms, and one of them is always ADA accessible, where you can wheel a whole wheelchair into the restroom. And so these 8 of our 20 rail cars have this internal lift that actually literally zips the guests, not zips, raises the guests up to the dome level. And then, they can either transfer into an assigned seat for the journey, or if there's no chance of transferring into their assigned seat for the journey, then there is a chance for us to accommodate wheelchairs in the domes. But we just need to know about that ahead of time. But on the fly, we often have guests show up with a surprise scooter, and we just do our best to accommodate however we can. We do have space to store some scooters on the train cars. We definitely see a lot of our guests with train cars. Some of the cars have a closet area that is large enough to fit the scooters into. And then otherwise, sometimes we do have to tuck them onto the open air vestibules in between the train cars. But really happy to find a space to store those scooters and wheelchairs or walkers and things that the guests won't need during the journey. But they're there. So I know that this slide is a little bit busy, but I just really wanted to highlight that internal elevator and the chance that when we know that the guest needs this service, we will definitely assign them to this train car.
And Jan, when I was with you,
couple of times.
Yep, when I was with you earlier this year, I think you had let me ride in it with you just to get a sense of how easy it was. And it was really streamlined. You just walked on, and then it just lifted you up to the next level. It was I was pretty surprised by how seamless it was.
Great. Good. All right, next, let's talk about some of the amazing food and beverage opportunities on our train. The timing of the train dictates that we will serve both breakfast and lunch on board the train. All the dining happens most of the dining happens downstairs in our dining room. We do have some lighter fare options that are available in the domes on some of our longer train journeys, or in the afternoon, some little munchies and things like that are available upstairs in the domes. But the majority of our guests definitely eat downstairs. All of our food on board the train, both breakfast and lunch, is made to order right in our kitchens, our tiny, small kitchens. And our staff is well trained, and they all of the staff on board the train have an Alaska State Food Worker card. Many of all of our supervisors have a nationwide Serve Safe certification. So we are prepared for guests with allergies. We have vegetarian and vegan options on board our train. So it's just really important that the guests let their server know if they have an allergy. We have this really incredible binder, just like the ships do, that say exactly every ingredient that's in every item. So if somebody is, allergic to something that like garlic powder that finds its way into so many little recipes. We literally have a nutrition guide that says every single ingredient and every single item so that we can best care for our guests at all times. We want to highlight a couple of our amazing lunch items. On the far right is our award-winning reindeer chili. It's really an incredible chili. The base is made for us in Seattle, down in Washington, but the reindeer we buy from Indian Valley Meats and Cheeses here just outside of Anchorage, Alaska. It's a ground reindeer that is cooked into the chili. It's served with an amazing cornbread. And then next to it is it was new in 2023. It's the bison sandwich. It's a slow roasted, really incredible pulled bison sandwich on this giant bun. All of the lunch items on our train are served with cilantro lime coleslaw and chips and a pickle. The chips are a local product. They're made out in the Matanuska Valley that the train travels right through. They just a fine potato chip. There's no French fries on our train, no fryers on our train. There's no deep fryers in a rocking kitchen that travels 55 miles an hour at max speed down bumpy train tracks. So, but anyways, here is one of our longtime line cooks, Lou, in the kitchen getting ready for a busy lunch service.
And Jan, we do have a question from the team here.
Yes.
So Linda B is asking if there's dietary restrictions, should they let somebody know in advance? Or do you feel like
yes, that is something that can be included in your booking for sure. Allergies are often noted, and then when the train manifest is prepared for us, we can actually see on there that allergies are noted for a certain guest, especially like our potato chips are cooked in peanut oil. So that's a really important allergy for us to know about in advance and be prepared for. And so, yes, as much information as you can gather from our guests about allergies, dietary restrictions, we can just ensure they have a seamless, beautiful time on the train, and we are extra prepared. In the case of allergies, we often put on a fresh kit of brand new frying pans, spatulas, special towels, everything we need that comes in one kit. And then that goes on to that train car kitchen that the guest is assigned to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jan. And thank you, Linda B, for the question.
Yeah, outstanding. I did throw in a little picture of our kids menu. We definitely see children on board our train throughout the course of the summer. And the kids menu it's two-sided. There's more activities on the other side. And then we have some, options that are more kid friendly, like mac and cheese and a corn dog and things like that. So
oh, and I think, Jan, you might be frozen here. Oh, there you are. I think you're back. Nope, I think you might still be frozen. So I think what Jan was talking about was the kids menu features in the center here. And Jan, it looks like you might be back now again. I don't want to steal your thunder.
All right.
And then I guess Jan is a bit frozen on my side still a little bit. So I'll just go ahead and talk about the local selections of alcohol and beer that we have available on the train here. We do have a Princess featured beverage. I believe it might be the Denali Lager, but Jan will have to confirm that. I will hit pause real quick because it looks like Jan's kind of coming back on my side. Jan, are you here?
Yes, I think so. Terribly sorry. Am I coming through now?
You are coming through now, and no worries. We do realize you're coming to us live from snowy Anchorage, so we're just excited that you can be here when you can be.
We're proud to serve a local gin.
Oh, and I think you're frozen again, at least on my side. So I think that kind of the takeaway on this slide is that we do, as Princess Rail, we do work with local breweries and distilleries to make sure that we're bringing you a local Alaskan flair to our food and beverage as much as we can. And it looks like you're back, Jan.
All right. Apologies, definite
No, you're
apologies.
fine.
Every train car does have its own bar, as well as its own gift shop. Maybe you know there's an Alaska state law that every tourist on the grounds must be within 500 yards of a gift shop at all times. So the train is in compliance. We have some amazing local products that we sell on board the train. The moose pins are our number one seller. I would say they are made in the Matanuska Valley by this amazing woman named Laura Ferguson. Shannon Cartwright is a local author that actually lives off of the Flagstop train. She is the author of these 4 books highlighted over here, these 4 kid books highlighted over here. So the retail on board the train is never a hard sell. At each guest's seat, there'll be a menu upstairs with all of the specialty cocktails and beers and all of the drinks that we serve upstairs, and non-alcoholic drinks as well. We've got some amazing mocktails that we sell upstairs in the dome. And then there's also this retail guide. So for any guests that are interested in taking home a souvenir from the train, we come right to them. We sell right to them in their seats. This is the map of the train traffic. You can see where our ships start down in Whittier, travel up through Denali, and into Talkeetna. Travel in past Talkeetna into Denali, and this is where our train does turn around. In the good old days, the train did travel all the way up to Fairbanks when we were connected to the Alaska Railroad. But in 2014, Princess was able to negotiate that private pull contract. So now we turn our train around in Denali. We do the fueling. We restock the food and beverage there in Denali. So our train only travels as far as Denali now. We do definitely have guests that ride the Alaska Railroad train between Denali and Fairbanks, but it is not on our 20 cars that we own. It is on a domed rail car that's serviced by Alaska Railroad. But I definitely wanted to highlight how long this train ride is. So Whittier Anchorage is mile 100. And then Denali is mile 346. And so it's a fun, wonderful, long day on the train. That's for sure. Hurricane Gulch is definitely one of the highlights. Each train car does have a bartender upstairs as well as a narrator that'll be highlighting some of the big events that are coming up. So this is one that our guests in between Talkeetna and Denali don't want to miss. Over the last few years, we have been refurbishing all of our train cars. And so the new paint scheme is really pretty exciting. We only have 4 of the Princess double-decker rail cars left to paint. And so it's coming along really nicely. And I so love the new paint scheme. It's pretty exciting. I want to give a huge shout out to the year-round maintenance team that keeps our train cars up in working order. The maintenance team is small but mighty. There's 7 of them that work year-round, and then our foreman. And each night, the train cars go through a really high-level inspection list, and then a really detailed inspection list as well. So I'm so grateful for our outstanding and wonderful maintenance team. They do so much amazing work for us. I mentioned the good old days that when our train used to go all the way to Fairbanks. I'm not sure if any of you wonderful viewers or some of your guests rode our trains way back in the day. Upstairs used to be all of these domes. Downstairs, there was really dark wood and dark tile in all the bathrooms. This is the good old days. Now we are super, super happy to have forward-facing seats that do recline. Yes, there is a footrest. There's also a tray that comes down in front of the guests with a small cup holder, but I would never have our guests trust that their Bloody Mary will stay in the cup holder for the whole journey. But the seats also have power. There's 110 power there, and as well as like a tablet holder. Each tray has a phone stand or a tablet holder if you wanted to put that up. And then each train car does have a little mesh pocket too. So easy to, stash your menu in there after you've decided what you want to munch on upstairs in the dome or what drink you're going to have. Good place to keep, your charger. And you definitely want to keep your camera handy. That's for sure. All right. Next is, this is the new scheme for the bathrooms. Much brighter lights, beautiful birch wallpaper wall, and then this gorgeous tile on the floor. And the vestibules as well also have a non-slip flooring outside. That's been a part of the refurbishment project as well. Like I mentioned, we will definitely give the guest a heads up about when we're coming up to some of the beautiful river crossings. We definitely do our best to let everybody know about what's coming up. We have this amazing tool for the staff that is literally mile marker by mile marker, all of the sites and the mountains and the rivers and the flora that we see. It's really incredible over the course of the season to watch the wildflowers bloom. And in May, we really start to see the purple wildflowers first. It's such a unique way to travel through Alaska to see all the different wildflowers blooming. That's for sure.
And Jen, will the folks on the train call out if they see any wildlife as they go through?
Oh, absolutely. Wild animal sightings are never a guarantee. We definitely get blessed from time to time. These are 3 of my own photographs taken from the train. This bear down here in Whittier, sitting in front of the Grand Princess, was really a unique sighting this summer. It was really wild to see that black bear come right up to the train and go behind us. These white sheep are the doll sheep, and they live along the turning and arm. They also live on the high rocky cliff sides of Panorama Mountain. So we definitely highlight areas that we're more prone to see wildlife. That's for sure. Oh, I wanted to give everybody a good tip about taking photos from the train. When you're upstairs and there's the beautiful glass top dome, a little secret tip is to put your camera right up against the glass. And then that way you won't have any glare in your photos. But yeah, you want to put your phone or your camera right up against the glass for less glare. Okay.
And Jen, is there a narrator on each car?
Yes, there is. Yep, that is our rail guide, our trained rail guides. There's one in every dome, as well as one bartender in every dome. And then downstairs on the bottom level, I don't think I mentioned, there are 2 food servers in each dining room, and then a line cook in the kitchen, as well as a dishwasher for that car. And then across the consist, there's always one onboard manager at least. So one supervisor that is responsible for the consist.
Great to know. Thank you.
Okay, next up, I know we talked about the double decker a ton. I definitely want to highlight our outstanding McKinley Express. So the McKinley Express only runs on Saturdays and every other Wednesday when we have a Princess ship in port in Whittier. And this train is really unique. It is a lower level domed car that we lease from the Alaska Railroad for the entire summer season. So it is Princess product, Princess food, Princess beverage, Princess employees, and our Princess retail, but it is on an Alaska Railroad lower level dome car. This train does a 5.5-hour journey from Whittier straight to Talkeetna, drops those 500 guests off just outside of the town of Talkeetna, which if you watched Tennille Wise's webinar, is 1 hour away from McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. So our train comes into the Talkeetna area, and then it picks up 500 new guests, and it takes them all the way back 5.5 hours down to Whittier. So this train is really unique because there's it's a push-pull. So it has an engine on each end of the train. It goes up to Whittier and then straight back down to Whittier. It is still ADA compliant. We definitely have space for wheelchairs and scooters on this train as well. Same kind of like limited storage. You don't want to bring any giant wheelie bags with you. You just want to bring, your important pieces that you need for the day. Don't forget your camera. This train journey is incredibly scenic. This is a view of the inside of one of the train cars. Also serving breakfast and lunch. The kitchens on this train, this lower level dome train, are much smaller than the kitchens on the double-decker train car. So it's a more limited menu, but there's soups and sandwiches and salads available. This train also has a really unique bistro car, which is in the center of the consist. And so the bistro car is just a large open area. There's historical photos from the railroad. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to mention about the McKinley Express, because if our guests are assigned on the McKinley Express, where they go from Whittier straight to McKinley Princess, it is this lower level dome that we lease from the railroad for the season. Any questions at all? I am wide open for any questions that you all might have. I want to definitely be able to, give you the different answers between what our trains offer.
This is great, Jen. Thank you so much for your time. We are actually right at time, so you landed that perfectly. Are there any other questions that we want to get to right at the tail end here? Otherwise, I'm happy to kind of jump into our Katmai video just to show that quickly, and then we can follow up with folks afterwards as well.
Oh, there's a really good one real quick. Can the trains be accessed independently of the cruise? Yes. We do sell the non-cruise tour seats to independent guests, and those are available here in Anchorage for sure. Anchorage to Talkeetna or Talkeetna to Denali.
Awesome. I think I've seen this pattern come up a bit. So can you talk a little bit about what luggage you'd recommend for folks to have, Jan?
Yeah, absolutely. There is no overhead dome, or sorry, there is no overhead like storage space. So definitely just whatever you want at your feet. So a small backpack. If you do bring a wheelie bag, we definitely recommend you put that into one of our closets for you. But really, leave those wheelie bags to our luggage service. We don't bring the large suitcases on the train with us. Our amazing land logistics team has it all worked out that the big suitcases are all transported by semi-truck so that they can beat you to the lodge, and so that our teams at the beautiful wilderness lodges have a chance to disperse all that luggage just before the train gets there. So I would definitely just bring passport, medications, camera, phone charger on board the train with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then I think we'll kind of wrap with this last question. Is early August a good time for wildlife viewing?
It's an outstanding time. Like I said, never a guarantee, but the guide in each of the train cars, the narrator, will definitely be highlighting areas where we're more likely to see moose or bear or Dall sheep or caribou or the beaver, or there's some rivers that we go by, and when the salmon are spawning and they turn that bright, beautiful red color, we can actually see the salmon from the train car down in a few of the rivers that we cross over.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jan. We're so excited and just happy that you've been here with us today to answer a lot of our questions and provide more information about the various rail services that we provide. So thank you. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Jan. And just as a quick reminder, all of the webinars within this series can be found on one source. And if you have any questions about where that link is, just let us know, drop it in the chat, and we will follow up with you. And then we will leave you with a Katmai Cruise Tour video. We just launched this product a couple of weeks ago. So we will go ahead and sign off for today. And hopefully you enjoy the video that we're about to share. Thank you so much for your time.